In 1988, the Summer Olympics were hosted in South Korea. And in the wake of the Olympics, the beautification of the city began. And one of the neighborhoods that went through a lot of changes because of the Olympics was Bangi-dong. And that's the neighborhood we will explore today. Now let's do this.
Bangi-dong is located southeast of Seoul and was, for the most part, designed in the wake of the Olympics. It's rather big, and as it includes the Olympic Park, it's filled with symbolism, hidden Olympic-related stories and funny anecdotes. The perfect place for iGoBart to explore. And if you think about it, the Olympics were important not only for Korea, but for the world. I mean, 88, Pal, the world looked a lot different back then.
Guys, this is Mika.
Hello.
He's working for me actually the coming 2 months, January, February, as an intern. Today he's joining us for Bangi-dong.
Yeah, I'm an exchange student at Korea National University of Arts right now. And for my semester break, I wanted to help out. Yeah, I did a little bit of research for this part, Bangi-dong, and yeah, let's have a good time here.
Let's have a good time. Yeah, so here we have the mascots of the Olympics. And according to Mika, there were options.
Yeah, so when they were designing the tiger and overall the logo, they apparently were choosing between the tiger and the rabbit, both very iconic animals for Korea.
Right.
And back then the president, John apparently said, no, we need the tiger. The little ribbon, it's like supposed to be like the S shape for like Seoul.
And down the rabbit hole we go. And out came a tiger. There were initially 4 best options. One was the Jindo dog, but it was too like a previously used Olympic dog mascot. Second was the magpie, which had a good meaning in Korea, but was bad in some other countries. Then third, the rabbit, which according to the story reminded too much of the Playboy logo. Then John Doo-won scoffed at the rabbit and settled in favor of the tiger, which almost ended up in a legal conflict with Kellogg Company for infringing their trademark Tony the Tiger.
So here when you enter the Olympic Park, you will see the World Peace Gate. It's actually one of my favorite architectures here in this area because it's made by Kim Jong-un, and he is one of my favorite architects in Korea. And now, kind of sad story about this gate is that this is one of his last designs that he made for Korea. It was completed in '88, before the Olympics, but the man died a couple of months before the completion of this gate. 올라갈 수 있어요?
못 올라가요.
아 그래요?
예. 청소하는 거예요, 깨끗하게.
근데 거기도 안 돼요?
예, 안 돼. 오늘 여기는 못 올라가요.
아, 아쉬워요. 이건 무슨 동물이에요?
평화의 문이라고 그래가지고 이거 뭐 상징하는 거죠. 여기는 이제 가끔가다 이제 관계자들만 오면 올라가니까 일반 사람들은 출입을 못 해요.
88 올림픽스 기억하세요?
네?
88
그쵸,
올림픽스
예,
기억하세요?
예, 기억하죠.
어땠어요 그때는?
대단했죠.
네?
우리 처음이니까.
아 그래요?
예. 우리나라 발전할 수 있는 계기가 올림픽으로 해서 발전했으니까
네.
뭐 대단했죠.
기분이 좋았어요?
그렇죠.
But I want to point out something really cool. The Olympics were in '88, and '88 was an interesting time. Cold War, Europe was divided between the East and the West. So the participating countries of the Olympics, they all have their flags here displayed on the square. And because the world was such a different place back then, many of these flags, they don't exist anymore.
As a German, I can already see something that I don't remember that way. I'm from now West Germany, but actually my mother is from East Germany. My dad is from West Germany, so I know both sides and I heard their stories. So it's quite interesting to have both flags right here, right next to each other.
Right next to each other, interesting.
Yeah.
You were born in 2000?
2001. Yeah.
2001,
Yeah.
okay. So for you, the Olympics was a long time ago.
Different time. Yeah.
Different time. So here we have the German Democratic Republic. And on the other side, where is it? We have
Federal Republic.
the Federal Republic of Germany. This is like, all these flags are like a snapshot of how the world was in '88. Great Britain.
Britain.
The Olympics in Los Angeles in 1984 and in Moscow in 1980 were both boycotted. But then in '88 in Korea, a record 159 nations participated. Good job, Korea. Only North Korea, followed by a few other nations, boycotted the Olympics. This definitely put Korea on the global map back then. And my first impression of the park, many people seem to use it for sports activities.
Hey, President.
Ah, President?
아니 한국말 잘해.
내가 찻달 내줄게 와요.
아. 혹시 88 올림픽스 기억하세요?
누구?
88 올림픽스.
88
네, 기억하세요?
내가 88 올림픽 여기 이제 요 건물 올림픽관.
아 그래요?
여기 이건 내가 그 경기 팀장으로 있었는데.
근데 88 올림픽스 어떠셨어요?
좋았지.
뭐가 좋았어요? 그때는 기분이 어땠어요?
아 우리 이제 그 코리아 그 자부심이 이제 처음에 하는 거니까. 여기 우리나라가 대한민국이 6.25가 겪었잖아요.
네네네.
그 전에 이제 또 30년 일제 식민지 있었고, 그리고 그 전에는 중국한테 많이 시달렸거든. 사대주의. 중국에 뭐 해라 하면 했었거든. 그런데 이제 그 6.25 끝나고 나서 제일 가난한 나라였다가 8월 올림픽 한다는 것은 올림픽을 한다는 것은 그만큼 국위가 선양됐다는 거예요. 그죠? 국위가 우리 지위가 레벨이 높아졌다는 거예요.
그렇죠.
그래서 자부심 많았지 그때.
네.
진짜 많았지.
너무 반가웠어요. 네.
감사합니다.
안녕. 성격이 괜찮아요?
물어요.
아, 물어요?
만지면 앙해요.
Oh, so we're now walking deeper into the park, and here you will find a beautiful old 80s bridge that Mika knows everything about.
Everything. Well, this was the old bridge for the Monchon fortress, I think. I heard some old guy in a video saying that if you walk across this bridge as many times as you're years old, then you will be healthy.
In one day, in an hour, or does it really
He
matter?
didn't clarify, so I think
1 year,
I
maybe?
think if you walk here every day, then you'll be fine.
When you cross this bridge, you will look up against a really big, well, it looks like a mountain, but it's actually a fortress wall. And the water here on my left and right was the Monchon fortress moat. And this is a tributary actually from the Han River. Okay, if you follow this water, it leads you straight to the Han River.
The people here, when the park was built, they found most of the relics here, and before that, a lot of locals just thought it was a hill. So it was made a long time ago, and then kind of people forgot about it, just thought it was a hill, and then now we're back to it being.
I mean, to be fair, it does look like just a hill, right?
It is just a hill, but I guess humans made it.
It's such a weird idea that suddenly, in an almost perfectly planned Olympic park, you can find yourself amid the Monchon Dosong fortress, which is basically an earthen fortification from the Baekje dynasty, with a natural moat on one side and wooden barricades on the other. Maybe what many people don't know either is that before the construction of the park, 200 residencies were removed. So there was a little village here before. And all that remains are several old trees. Among them was this lone tree, or the bullying tree, as it was left alone after the village was demolished. Not everyone was happy with the changes.
아이 마음 좋지 않았지.
So in front of us, maybe the most famous tree in Korea. And usually, well, at least all the other times I was here, there's like a whole line of people waiting to take a perfect picture.
You can see the ground of the footsteps.
Right. Look at this. It's just all mud. Now, apparently there's a monument somewhere in the park with all the names of the inhabitants of that village.
Long ago, during the Manchuria invasion, a small citizen army stood its ground against the then called Manchurian barbarians, hence the name Bangi, fortress, barbarian. Today, the Hanja meaning is changed to something less barbarian.
Mika found an interesting story. A couple of athletes, after they won a gold medal, they wanted to celebrate by jumping in the river.
They throw their teammate in the river celebrating their victory, gold medal, and then he comes up and is still celebrating, getting off the shore, and he's like, where's the medal?
So now we're in front of the Olympic swimming pool. Cool sign, very simple.
Very
old
simple,
school.
Very big. There's a kind of funny story that I found out about the Olympics where in the diving, one of the swimmers, in one of his tries, he hit his head on the board and got 0 points, and then he tried again and then he got the gold medal.
That's sick. So we're here at the world famous French-made thumb sculpture. This park is filled with sculptures, one after another, everywhere. So what Mika and I didn't talk about yet is how Korea managed to get the Olympics. So they were actually competing with Japan.
Yeah, with Nagoya. They had the Tokyo Olympics before in Japan, so back then there wasn't any Olympics in Korea before. People said, oh, it's just gonna go to Japan, there's no way Korea can get it. Korea had like the historic military coup even during that time of applying for the Olympics, so there were a lot of problems. And I think it was back then the chairman of Hyundai Group. He had to convince the voters, I guess, to vote for Korea instead of the easier option, which was Japan. So he had the strategy apparently where he sent flower gifts or flower bouquets and then went and delivered them to people to have I guess private conversation or just make a great impression, and then people that voted also had their family there or whatever, so I guess then the wife was happy about the flowers, and it just definitely changed the view.
Chairman Jong's so-called flower basket strategy worked. He believed that most women love flowers, And if it would make them happy, the husband would be happy too. The husbands happen to be the IOC voting members. Now, let's move on. Next to the park is where young Koreans study and work hard to become athletes. Let's find someone to talk to.
제가 어떤 선수 하고 싶나요?
장거리 애슬레틱.
Oh, athletic. Who inspired you to become?
영향받은 선수 있어요?
일단 첫 번째로 영향 많이 받은 선수는 마이 하이스쿨 코치. 저한테 많이 엄청 영향을 주신 분이고. 두 번째는 마이클 노먼 400m. 마이 드림.
그럼 스프린팅 하는 거예요?
네, 맞아요.
혹시 88 올림픽 어떻게 기억하고 있어요? 기억은 아니지만
좀 우리나라에서 올림픽을 처음 개최했다 이런 거 말고는 그거 잘 못 느끼긴 하는데, 근데 88 올림픽 개최하고 나서부터 저희 나라가 선진국 반열에 올라섰다고 그렇게 들어가지고 저는 그 덕분에 선진국에 올라서지 않았나 이 생각만 하고 있어요.
이 학교 너무 재밌어 보여요.
정말 재밌어요.
건강하게 운동 많이 하고 너무 멋있어요.
네, 재밌어요.
다음 올림픽스 TV에서
네.
볼게요.
The urban transformation from Olympic investments was successful, and one building that stands out is the Olympic Plaza. I secretly fell in love with the glass facade and its unique shape. This is how it looked in '88.
혹시 여기 오래 있나요? 이 가게?
네네네.
88년부터?
네네네. 88 올림픽 때 여기서 88 올림픽
네네네.
했잖아요. 그래가지고 사람들이 외국에서도 많이 오고.
네. 선수도 많이 만났어요?
네네네.
Can you imagine how people from the USSR, East Berlin, West Berlin, and Western Europe could casually meet each other while shopping in the Far East in this glass construction? I find that a rather pleasant thought.
So here, guys, is the first Pyeongchang in Korea. Let's check it out. It doesn't look like an old Pyeongchang. They must have renovated this thing a million times. 여기 제일 오래된 Pyeongchang이에요?
예, 맞아요.
I mean, it's honestly not so impressive to go to the oldest Pyeongchang of Korea.
it's just
I was expecting maybe a few old photos or some memoirs, but here there's a ganpan since 1989, after the Olympics. So now we just came out of the Sangha building. All the apartments you see around us are the former athlete and reporter apartments. So during the Olympics, all the athletes and the reporters stay in these apartments before they were given to the Korean people after the Olympics. And if you see this from above, it's actually pretty impressive shape. It looks like half a wheel, like bicycle wheel. The mascot and the Olympic logo. Yes, jackpot. Oh, up.
what is it?
Hit my head. Oh, check this out.
Damn.
I'm so excited right now. I love rooftops. Jeez.
Look at the mountain as well.
Mika, jackpot, man. Jackpot. So over there is the shopping mall. You can see the umbrella shape, and here it is. This is what I love about the athlete reporters town or village. It's a very unique design of apartment complexes, because these days the common design is everything is just square in a row, boring. Well, this is not boring.
같은 아파트에서 선수 살았어요. 지금
선수들이 다 입주했다가는 올림픽 끝나고 다 떠나고 분양이 된 거죠.
혹시 옛날에 누구 거기서 살았는지 아세요? 선수는?
그런 건 잘
몰라요.
몰라요.
It's a view to behold, and I love the design of this apartment complex formation. The athletes must have thought the same back in '88. Now, after talking to many locals and seeing it for myself, it's impressive to see how Bangi-dong was planned and how it still revolves around sports. And it's not just the once glorious Olympic venue, brought down by years of neglect. And then, after we thought we did seen it all, we noticed a strange green plot of land behind the athlete village. Bangi apparently has its own green belt, a limited development area, at the edge of Seoul City. After seeing all the well-planned areas, I wasn't expecting this in Bangi.
And then also what is kind of interesting is like if you look down, there's literally no border. Like it goes right into huge apartments.
You know, we've seen a lot of Bangi-dong already. Everything was beautified for the Olympics, well developed, well planned part of the city. And then suddenly, still within Bangi-dong, there is a green belt with a lot of farmers.
I mean, this is what I know from living in the countryside of Korea, Chungnam.
Mika, it's kind of like Germany, right? You were about to say that.
I mean, I like those like kind of garden communities in a way, and it does feel like walking through somebody's backyard.
It does. Mini golf. That looks super fun.
Olympic Games in 1988 were a huge turning point for Korea. It contributed to Korea's image both internally and externally. Driven by the nation's successful hosting of the Games, the government also allowed everyone to travel abroad regardless of age or how much money they had in their account. In 1989. Yes, this previously wasn't the case. The Games also took a turning point in history, as they were the last game edition to take place before the end of the Cold War. Korea has moved up from this point on. So to me, Bangi-dong goes on the map as the 88 turning point. And yes, there's more, in the more lively Bangi-il and Hee-dong, but nothing that would top the story of the Olympics.
That was Bangi-dong. It was a big walk. I think we have over 25,000 steps.
Let me check. 22.
22?
22.
Oh, they don't have to know. 25,000 steps. We're completely exhausted.
Yeah.
No, but that's it. I hope you had a good impression of Bangi-dong. Thanks, Mika, for joining me today.
My pleasure.
And we'll see you next time. Houdoe.